So today we are going to use data I picked somewhere. It is a sample chocolate sales data. I want us to first do the exploration. As how we have always said, before you start using data, first explore. Exploring may also mean you to understand where the data is coming from. And even the people who collect the data, how do they collect it? Because you as a data analyst, that is your job to know the data you're going to use. Don't just grab data and start using it. We said when you deal with data, then you're trying to solve a problem. You need to jot down in terms of questions, what am I solving? How many sales do they make monthly? How many employees do this company have? How many customers? What is the retention of customers week on week? Those are the questions the business is asking itself. Then you as a data analyst, you're coming through to answer, to give answers to those questions in terms of data analysis principles. Yes, Timothy, you were saying something. No, you can mute, or you can also put it in the message. I will keep having breaks to attend to that. Okay, we are going to deal with data. It is one sheet, but this data may be coming from different directions of the business. Just take it to be like that. So here we have shipments. This is a chocolate sales company. But when you look at the data they capture on a daily, it may be like an application that logs here data. You see, there is a shipment ID, there is a SPID, we shall know what it is, PID, GID. Then we have a ship date, we have amount, we have boxes. That's quantity, obviously. Then we have the status, order status. Now, this is the daily data they are logging on daily. Then when we come to dimension data, here they have, since it is a table, I can look at this. This is a products table, which means the company has the products it sells or it produces. You may find that this chocolate business, they bake 22 flavors, right? Every flavor they gave it a category. Every flavor has its cost, how they buy it, and every flavor has its ID, how it is called in the system. Like you can have an employee ID, EPL, maybe 003. This is me, Sabit Christopher, but my name is Sabit Christopher. Why do we use IDs in data? You also have to understand that when systems are logging, I can create it here. When a system is logging, let's say Christopher, and logging now an ID, my ID is maybe EMP002. Now, when we go to data storage, this name carries more bandwidth, more storage width than this. So every letter here, if you've done any course on data or computer science, every letter here has a capacity it is stored in the database. So you'll find that C takes like 3 kilobytes, okay, three bytes. H takes like 5 bytes. I takes like 20 bytes. At the end of the day, the whole of Christopher, you'll find that it is taking around let's say 87 bytes. I'm talking about what you always call kilobytes, megabytes. That is the storage, how we store data. Then you'll find that this ID, EMP, then the 00, the numbers, the digits, they carry one byte for them. Then you'll find that this one stores around 12. It means if I stored 100 employees, this file, the Excel file HR will be having it will be 1,200 bytes, which is 1.2 kilobytes if you divide this in 2 kilos, right? So this is 1.2 kilobytes. I'm taking you into science. Now, then, but I need you to understand this, why we use IDs than using names in data. So if now we are storing only names, but remember even this is one name. This Sabiti is supposed to be having Sabiti Christopher like this. And it means that this data may increase even to 200. It means if every name has a storage capacity of 200 bytes, it means that at the end of the day, this name is going to have this times 100 employees. So we are having 20,000, which is 20 kilobyte. You get? Remember now, this is just one file for the employees. And this we are talking about one column, names. But you'll find the HR has a sheet with around 20 columns. The name, the address, email, your spouse, your children, you name them. You'll find that the person who saved this as a name in their file, they will end up having a file that goes, let's say, to 20 MBs. And the person who used IDs may end up even not having an MB, like 897 kilobyte, not even making an MB. Do you know what this means in terms of storage? Imagine that company is storing data on cloud. Every MB here is paid for on a monthly basis. So that is the cost you run. Now, you as a data analyst, you as a business analyst, you advise the business on how to structure data. Now, this is the way how we are structuring the data. You'll find that you every day this app, when someone puts in that I need chocolate, for it books an ID this side. Instead, it would have brought chocolate, which takes a space of 20 MBs, or sorry, 20 bytes. It brings an ID which takes less than 5 bytes. It means that you don't overuse the data on your servers. Like if you have bought 1 terabyte from Google, you don't reach out in the morning and they tell you that we have overused the terabyte, all systems are not working because it has been used up. So that is the reason why we use by IDs. So just get it from me. That is the major reason why we use IDs. But there are other reasons why we use IDs. Why we use IDs? They are unique identifiers. You're going to find you have in a company two Sabit Christophers, but you have no way you can differentiate them. The only way you can differentiate them is an ID generated by the system. So yeah, definitely had something. Okay. Now, let's go to the dimension. That's where I was. This table, you see the products table. We may even run like 4 months when the business has never changed anything in this table. They are buying things on the same rate, it is the same supplier, they haven't negotiated any new rates. I'm going to tell you why we call now this a dimension table. Now, any table that you never update on a daily, it is like a table that is in the system that can even take years without updating. We call it a dimension table. Then any table that you update on a daily, like sales, definitely can mute if it's okay. Any table that you update on a daily, that every time there is a sale, it adds a new entry. We call those tables fact tables. That's the difference I can give you between fact tables and dimension tables. But there are a lot of reading you can do with these tables. Just read about them. I will also give you some notes on the same. So fact tables are tables we update on daily, like sales, like operation performance, daily performance. All those are fact tables. But where you log data and you don't update it after a while, this is called a dimension table. So this is a product dimension table. Now here we have a geolocation. This is India, USA, blah, 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 region and ID. It means that we can never update this. You can even take 10 years, 20 years when the business is running, when they have never updated anything here. It means in India they have this, in USA they have a region where they sell their cookies, in Canada they have a region, and this is the ID. This never changes. Now, why do we separate dimension tables from fact tables? And as we go forward, we are going to look at if you get data in a unified sheet, we make sure we divide it to make sure we get different dimension tables. Why do we do that? To improve on performance of your report. That your report will not run a column that has India 30 times, but the India is once. The only thing it will run 30 times is G1. So when you go this side on the shipment, you'll find the G1 is many times. But here on dimension, the G1 is appearing once. That's why we call this a dimension table, because it has a unique identifier. This column can never have repetition. But when we come this side in the fact table, it is repeating because this is a new entry every day, every hour. The product ID, we are selling the same product on a day, we can sell it 20 customers. So we can have 20 entries having P01. This is supply, I think. No, this is sales. Now we have a sales dimension here. It means that if you employ a new salesperson, you come and update this sheet, but you may take like two years without updating this sheet because you're not recruiting any salesperson anymore. So also this one, we call it a dimension table because you don't update it on a daily, or it is updated. There is a regular timelines you always come to update this. So here you see you have a salesperson name. It is logged there once. Otherwise, if we had this column this side, this name of Barry would have appeared like 1,000 times. All the sales he has done, we put Barry, 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 Barry. But I have told you the purpose why we don't do that. I've given you the background check, why how we count storage. When you have your file and you check how big is it, it means those are the bytes it carries. So we have now here three dimension tables and we have one fact table. Before we import into Power BI, I wanted us to understand this first. The moment you have put this into your head that this is a fact table and this is always a dimension table, then it will always become easy for you when you're dealing with data from different sources. Now, why do we create dimension tables? That a dimension table sometimes it becomes as an intersect. That if you get data from operations, you get data from finance, you get data from HR, you get data from wherever it is coming from, UID you as an employee is the same. So it becomes easy for you to connect this to all those reports. Now, those reports, the people in operations will not know that you're working from India, regional park. They will not know that you're working from Canada, region Americas. This is G3. But for them, what they have is UID. This is the ID here in the fact table. Here, this entry, they didn't want to know that whether this location is in India, whether this salesperson is in India or in America. No, for them it was all about sales. Now, how do we make aggregate together the sales from India, the sales from America? Is having a dimension table that can easily give you those filters and those aggregations. So that's what we are going to do. Now, what you should not always forget, actually, it is always the first thing I create on any project I start is a calendar table. Here they have given us a calendar table, but when we reach DAX, I think that is our next session, data analytics expression, I will show you how you generate an automated calendar table in your workbook or in your project. Here they have already given us a calendar with the date, the month number, the month name, but we can generate even more using the add column in Power BI. So now, what is our next thing? I'm going to delete this sheet such that it doesn't confuse us as we connect our sheet to Power BI. If there is no question, I don't see any question in the messages, then I will just kick off directly to Power BI. So when we come to Power BI, ladies and gentlemen, um, we talked about this last time. You just need to know what file you're dealing with. The file I'm dealing with here, you see it has an extension of XLXSX. It means that it is an Excel file, right? When you come to get data, it means that I don't pick it as a CSV, I pick it as an Excel workbook. And also you should note in your head, you as a data analyst, that CSVs don't always capture multiple sheets well. So when you always want to save multiple sheets, you'll find always you're forced to save it as an Excel workbook. But it is not mandatory since technology has traversed through different modules. So we are going to capture this as an Excel workbook. But remember, I will not be able to import it into Power BI when it is open. I will not repeat that. We saw it last time when we were getting errors. So I'll close this, but before I close it, you can always know where it is coming from. So this is where it is. So I'll go ahead and close this file. The purpose why I'm closing it, Power BI will not be able to import it when it is open. But after you have imported it, you can open it again. So I'll come to Power BI. You can use this shortcut. You have 4 shortcuts here. You can always use this like this, and it will open the dialog box for you to do the import. Now I know where my import is, but if you don't know, please, you can always scroll through your folders. If you can't scroll through your folders and you already have the folder open, click on it here, click in the address bar, copy that address, or you can even click on the file, right click on the file and you copy as path. Copy as path, it gives you the path where this file is. So even though I have opened this folder maybe from my computer somewhere, I can click here and paste the path I've copied like this. It will take me directly to that document. Why it has failed? Because there is an extra, you see the semicolons, which I have to get rid of, and I have to open the folder from here like this. Yeah, still there are those semicolons. So I will go back to my folder this, like this, back, and here it is. It is module 3. And here is the file. I will click on the file and then say open. Open doesn't mean that you're opening it, but you're opening it for Power BI. So I'll open it, give it some time, depending on the CPU of the laptop you're using, and depending on the heaviness and of the workbook you are importing. That's the time you'll always wait. So here we go. Here it opens. I want to put some markings such that we follow through. I'm going to put some marking here for us to follow through. Okay. Now, you will realize here that we have these icons are different from these. Now, why they are different? Because this is showing us sheet names, right? And here it is giving us the tables in those sheets. So remember, we have one of the sheet that has 3 tables, right? So that's why that sheet, you'll find that that sheet has, we found it is the one that has the dimension. It has a calendar table, 1. It has the location, 2, and it has the people. Actually, even it has products. So it has 4 tables. And the other sheet has, I can say, the 50th one, which is the shipment. And now that is exactly our target. But when you look at this, it has a sheet for calendar, it has a sheet for dimension table, it has a sheet for shipment. Now, going forward, after you have done your exploration, you know how your data is structured. You don't have to look at exporting this. That is out. We are not importing sheets. We are going this time to import tables. Every table will come intact as it is, however much it is coming from which sheet. So every time you're importing data in workbooks, make sure you note those icons. These icons with a blue stuff on the top, those are tables. Then these icons with, if you zoom them, you look at them when I give you the data, they have like a sheet, some like sheet icons at the bottom. These are sheets. So it is more of discipline to always import tables than importing sheets. Yeah, I'm done with that, I think. If maybe if there is any question on that. Okay. Now, you see there are multiple here. Yes, you can select one by one, but we have always an option here of um, no, the option I'm looking for is not. They have already. In other words, if you open, for those using maybe some different version than I'm using a latest one. You may not see these boxes. If you don't see these boxes, there will be an option here of select multiple. Then it will bring the boxes, then you're able to select the sheets you want to, the tables you want to import. Now, every table you click on, it previews here, it shows you what it is. We have already looked at these tables. This is shipments, this is products, we looked at it. These are the people department, the sales supervisor, the sales personnel, these are the locations, and this is the calendar. Now I'm going to import all of them at once. I'm leaving out these because these are sheets. And we know that this sheet is having more than one. It will bring errors and you start struggling with errors. Now, the next thing, never load immediately, even though your data is clean. It's better you first put it in transformation phase in that Power Query editor. You look at it, just you smell. If it is already clean, well and good. If it is not, you can always do the panel beating from there. That's why I don't recommend you to go directly to load. So I will go to transform data. You give it some few seconds, it is going to transform the data. If the data has errors, it will tell you that the data has errors and it will not take it to this next stage. Now, this next stage, it will open a Power Query editor. We explained and went through this last time. So you practicing is when you will get it is when you'll get used to these icons. But the moment you don't practice, I've been with Timothy at some point. I know he knows most of the icons now, what they mean. Because you reach a point, you ask a question, how can I do this? Yes, that is simple. Go to this icon, it will do you the magic. Now you see all the tables are imported here. We have a calendar table. This is it. If you have anything you want to do with it, please do. Now, this is the point where you have to review your data types. They are telling me this is a calendar. Yes, these are dates. This is a number. Yes, these are numbers. This is a text. Yes, this is text. This is a number. Yes, this is number. This is number, yes. This is text, yes. So when you first put the data in transform data, it gives you ample time to do all this. Then we go to location, the same thing, all text. We go to people, we are not changing anything, but at least we are appreciating what we have imported before even it lands where it is supposed to be finally used. Then these are the products, then these are the shipments. Now, when you want to add more things, either abbreviation, it becomes easy to add the abbreviations like at this stage. Let's say if you want to create initials for your sales supervisors, like you want to pick maybe the first letter for each name, it is very easy. You can do that. How you do that in transform? Can we do that? Yes. We want to create an initial that picks the letter, one letter from each name, and we create an initial. Like Daphne, we call her DA. Barbara, we call her BB. Kizito, we call her KT. Something like that. Because you reach at some point when you're creating like a visual, like a bar chart or a bar graph, sorry, or a a column graph, and these names become large in the x-axis, and you want to use the initials and put a key somewhere. You get, at the end of the day, there is a statistics we talk about. Your work should be neat. When you have a chart and it is putting names in the x-axis, you have left it to be Dafinamanya, but at the end of the day, someone who is reading the report is only seeing DA, other letters are squeezed behind the others. That that kills the mood of anyone reading your report. That's why now you may come up and say, for the sales supervisors, let me create initials. So you come here on add column, we say add column by an example. There are many techniques of doing this. We are going to add column by an example. So click here, select that column, come here, add column by an example. Yes, from the selected one, from the selection, they'll create for you a dummy column here. Now we are going to teach this dummy column what we need. Click in the first one. You say, I want BF, enter. Go to the second one. It is Denson Crossweight. It is DC. Enter. The moment you go to the third, Power BI has already realized what you're trying to do. But when I look into the suggestions they are giving me, it is not yet clear of what I want. Let me give it the third example. DC, like that. Then the fourth is CA. So you see it is adjusting somehow. Then the fifth is AP. Now even most of them have adjusted to 2. You go ahead doing like that. By the time you finish around 5 examples, 6, depending, you'll find that the whole data of 1,000 entries will be speaking to the same. This one is okay, this is okay, this is okay, this is BM. Um, this is OS. I don't want to introduce how to create a DAX that can do this. That's why I'm using the native basic um, option. You see now all of them, actually this one with an exclamation mark was the one blocking most of them. You see after finishing it, everything now is 2 letters. And the moment you're done with that, you say, okay, yeah, this is what I want. Then after getting the column added to your table, you'll go ahead and give it a column header. Remember, every step you do is applied. So where is our step? It is still running. Apologies. I think my laptop is taking long to run, but we shall persevere. There are some things that was meant to close first. Okay, here it is. Then I will call these initials like this. Now, here you as a data analyst, you have already done this is kind of data cleaning. You have already done the cleaning that when I reach creating a graph that is going to capture all these names, I will not mind on this. I will just pick the initials, then I make this like in a key somewhere, such that someone should know BF is this, this is this, this is this, this is this, right? So I think that is it. That was by the way, when we go to products, the same thing, you can always play with them, but all is clean. The data we are using is clean. There is nothing like we need to do in cleaning here. I'll go ahead and go back home, close and load. These three options, I talked about them. When I say apply, it means I'm applying the changes I've done, but still I remain with my Power Query editor open. But when I say close and apply, it closes the Power Query editor and applies the changes, then it takes me to the Power BI canvas. So we shall do this. Then it will close and apply. It will apply the changes. We give it some time. If it delays, you can force it here to apply changes. So when you look at the processing queries, the loading, it has many steps it goes through when it is loading. We should be able to see all the data tables from the data canvas, the table canvas. We said this is the report, this is table, this is modeling. So changes are being applied. Now this is the loading. The other time it was performing queries to put together the files you importing. This can happen in a snap, but it is taking this long because of the speed we are using. And it will always also depend on the heaviness of the data you are importing. Then after it has imported, that's where we are going now to look at how do we deal with the models. We are going to look at the relationship. We have already looked at the relationship of the file. Let it finish loading, then I can reopen the file. I don't want us to go late. I know we have already gone over and above, and I appreciate that we have all been on the call up to the end. I think I would request for us to have a few questions. Or if you don't have a question, then you can tell us what you have learned today that you didn't think it exists, or you didn't think that it can be done. Anyway, if you have dealt with Power BI at some point. Okay, just 3 minutes. Okay, yes, Teddy?
Sorry, earlier on I had asked, I put in the chat, I think you didn't say that.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so I had asked whether we're still, I think, editing our Excel before we loaded our data. I had asked whether the added conditional column could apply to the rest if you edited one table, not all.
Now the word you have used means something else. I don't know why that's what you mean.
We were adding a conditional column table. Okay, well, maybe abbreviating the longer names we had.
Yes, yes.
So if we did that to one table, considering I had 3 or 4, would it apply to the rest?
Like if we created like if we created those initials, yes, would those initials apply like how we are using them here?
If I apply them in one table, would they apply in the next?
Yeah. So
if I had 4 tables,
relationship. So long as there is a relationship, let's say if there was Teddy Kawahuma and you say Teddy Kawahuma will always be TK. It means that if you have an ID that connects more than one table where Teddy Kawahuma name is, you can use that initial to represent something else from another table. You get? Because there is a relationship that binds the two.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we shall try out maybe, or you can also try it out. Any other
I'm going
question?
to. I'll share with you.
Any other question? Oh, Teddy N, you had requested for to pardon you on the stars. I had repeated. Did you get it right? This is called a star schema. Star schema because it is in that format of a star schema. Obviously, there are other types of relationship designs, but the star schema is common. Always, you'll find that you're always having a star schema. But we shall talk about the others later. I never wanted to confuse it with this. So star schema means that you have defined fact tables and dimension tables, and you're segregating them from the rest. Now, even this, you can have it in this format that you can decide and put all the fact tables on top like this, and the fact tables goes down, and even you can collapse these, such that if you no longer want to look at the details like this, you can collapse them. Now you look at this, someone may say, now how do we call this? Still it is a star schema because we are relating a fact to the dimension tables. Or if you are relating the many fact tables to a certain fact dimension table, still it stands to be a star schema. So the way how you arrange your data, your models, it is upon you, but always it becomes easy when you put, that's why they called it a star, that when you put it in that format, they don't have to be symmetric. Even if you leave these two at the top, this one at that side, still it runs to be a star schema. But we always try to make sure that we distribute the space evenly, such that it can give us that star kind of thing. I hope I have answered that. Any other question we have from we? Okay. I think that is it from my end. Let me stop our recording here. Which is okay. When your data is cleaned right, the relationships will always create automatically. So, like when you come to this, you can now imagine why is the shipment table in the middle? Because it is the fact table. Every table is connecting to it. Because if you remember very well, the shipment table, let's view it from here. If you remember very well, the shipment table has the salesperson ID, it has the product ID, and it has the geo ID. So it combines all the three tables in one with all their IDs. Now, in the product ID, this is called a primary ID. Why do we call it primary? Because it is unique. You can never have another product with the same ID. But when we come to the shipment ID, because P10 is appearing many times, we call it a foreign key. So if you have a pen, you can write down, we have primary key and a foreign key. A primary key is a unique ID that appears in the table too, that relates data in a table. Then a foreign key is a key of a certain data that links to a different table where the primary key is. So here, this becomes a foreign key because this is not a product table. It is a sales table, shipments table. That's why we have shipment ID. So this is not a sales person table, it is a shipment table. That's why we have this ID, we call it foreign key. This key is called a foreign key because you see the SP01 is appearing many times. But when we go to the people's table, the SP01 has to appear once. That's why here it is called a primary key. Now, if you have understood that, let's go back to the model. There is something I want to show you. There is a star here, there is a 1 here. There is a star here, there is a 1 here. There is a star here, there is a 1 here. There is a star here, there is a 1 here. Now, in data modeling, a star stands for many, and 1 stands for obviously 1. It means that this GeoID, when you click on it, it will show you that when you hover on it, your cursor, it will show you the IDs that it is connecting. GID, GID. So it means that the GID here is appearing many times, duplicated, and the GID here is appearing once. Every entry has one GID unique. That makes the location table, that makes the GID column or field a primary key in the location table. Then when we click on this SPID becomes the primary key on the people's table, and here it is appearing many times because it is a foreign key. It is foreign because it doesn't harbor from here, it harbors from its own table this side. The same thing does with products. So I will bring this calendar table of mine. Why has the calendar table didn't make itself also a relationship? Why? Because the date we have in the shipment is called ship date. And the date we have in the calendar is called cal_date. So these two names were not the same. That's why it didn't create a relationship automatically. Now, also another thing. If you had an SPID in your people's table and an SPID here, meaning something different, they are not related. Power BI may relate them, and you find that it has put many, or even one-to-one. Make sure that you always check your relationships. Don't take it as for granted that it will always do the same and correct thing. If you have your columns renamed wrongly, for it will connect the SPID with the SPID. If this SPID is a date, it will not know. It has looked at the column headers to connect the relationship. So we are going now to create a relationship between the calendar table and the shipment table. You just drag this and drop it on top of the shipment date. And it will pop up this dialog box, new relationship. It will show you that you are trying to connect the cal date column in calendar table with the ship date column in the shipments. And yes, and it is showing you that the cardinality. Now, this is exactly what I've talked about. The cardinality we have is one to many. We are connecting one to many, that a date here in calendar appears once, but the date here in shipments appears many times. That is one to many. Now, if I click on that, there is also many to one. Many to one is the reverse of this. Then one to one means that the date here appearing once and in the shipments also appearing once. That happens, but it's not common. Then many to many, it also happens. It happens for lean purposes, but we don't always use this. Because if you have many dates here and you have many dates here, what are you connecting? But sometimes there are those tables that you'll want to connect many to many, but those tables are not called dimension tables. They are also fact tables. Like you can have a purchase table and a sales table. The company has the purchasing team, which is doing entries every day. The company has the sales team, which is doing entries every day. Those two tables are all called fact tables. So when you're connecting those two fact tables, the dates will show you many to many, because purchasing has done more than 2 entries in a day. Even sales have done more than 2 entries of the same date. So that's where you get many to many. Let me hope that this is clear. There is no rocket science here, but you can go ahead and read more about cardinality, but I've given you the picture. So here we are doing one to many. So cross filter direction is single. Why are they saying it is single? Because of this arrow. It is coming from one to many. The arrow is going this side. It means that the primary ID is on products, then linking to the fact ID, which the fact table, which has the foreign key. That's why it is single. If it is both, it means that you have many to many. That's where you can get two arrows, one facing that side, another one facing this side. I will come back to this explanation when we reach creating visuals. I will tell you why this cross filter direction matters a lot when you're creating filters in your dashboard. The other things left constant, I'll go ahead and save. The moment you save, it will create the relationship with the line. And here it is, working on it, and it has to close, and all this is it. Now you'll see that we have relationships for all the tables are being related to the shipment table. The reasons why we do this, what's the purpose why we do this? Reasons you're going to see them and you're going to enjoy them when you're dealing with this data, when you can no longer do the VLOOKUPs. When you're having data, you're pulling data from this table, you're taking it in another table. So this is the shortest way of doing VLOOKUPs in Excel, that you have already connected all these tables on this shipment table. So you can use data from this side and pick metrics from here. Now, let me go through other functionalities to do with modeling. The moment you double click on a relationship, it will open the other dialog box. And I've explained everything here. So you can want to change, like if you click on that and click on this, here it is showing you one-to-one, because whatever is here is appearing once, whatever is here is appearing once, they are not related. That's why the cross filter direction is showing both. If I say yes, whether it is the wrong one, the shipment ID is not related to the people ID. You see, the moment you create that, it is going to give a dual direction, both direction. You see this? It is one to one. What does it mean? The shipment, the salesperson ID, it is appearing once here. The shipment ID is appearing once here. They are not related. That's why even it is giving us a dotted line. The moment we double click on that, you'll see something else. Anyway, it is not. So this is a wrong relationship, because shipment ID, they are not related in any way with the salesperson ID. So we have to bring it back here. It changes automatically. And remember, when I brought back here, you see there was a tick here, make this relationship active. If I cancel because it is the same, the moment you see a dotted relationship, which means this relationship is not active. You have a wife, you have kids, but you no longer live together. The relationship is not active, but what is connecting these two are the children. Just take it like that. I love bringing those real world examples such that you relate what we are talking about. So this is not an active relationship. That's why this check is off, because these two people are no longer related. They no longer have any common uh, any common character between the two. So if I click on this, automatically it resets back. One to many or many to one. It is many to one because the other table is on the top, this table is down. If I bring the people's table here, sorry, but if the people's table was at the top and this shipment was at the bottom, it would have been one to many. I think you now see the order of one to many and many to one. It is not the same. It is just the order of the tables. So I will save this because this is the correct one. Now, there is something else you have to note. Let it close by itself. There is something else you have to note, that when we are on the modeling canvas, this canvas, the model view, there are these semantics you're looking at. Actually, the name changed 1 year ago. They are now called semantic models. Before, we used to call them data models, but still the word data models still appears there outside. So if you find the word semantic models, it means data. Uh, it means data model. Okay, let me mute you, but you can unmute in case you. Now, yeah, when we come to the semantic model, you can see the relationships here. We have 4 relationships, and these are the relationships. So when you come to the ribbon, we should get the relationship somewhere here. When you come here to manage relationships, it will open all the relationships you have on the table. It means that even you can screenshot this and send it to someone to see, are these the relationships? Are they the correct ones? So you see, shipment, the GID in the shipment table is connecting with the location, sorry, GID in the locations table, and it is active. Even here, you can edit, you can delete, you can switch them. You can switch it from active to inactive if you don't want to use that relationship. So if I say edit, obviously it will open back the other dialog box. If I cancel, we go back to the manage relationship table. Then there is auto detect. Auto detect, if you have many tables like we created at first, and we want to quicken on the creation of relationship, you come and click on auto detect. Like what we saw, that these tables were already mapped to each other. That one was already auto detect was done in the background. So if you want to add a relationship, you can also add it from here by clicking on add relationship. It will open this, then you select this table. Let's say if I select like location table and I go and select like people's table, then you look out for I want to connect this with this, you go ahead and save. You see it is one-to-one both because it is wrong. So if I save, obviously it will connect, but it is inactive because there is no relationship between the two. And at the end of the day, actually, it will also give you this. This error, it's good the error has come. There are ambiguous paths between shipment and location. What this means that there is already a relationship that is connecting these two tables. That there is already a relationship connecting people's table, and that same table is being connecting to the geolocation. By this, it means there is already a polygamy thing taking on. Like you want to create two relationships of two women, and you find that the relationships all head to one man. It means that if these two women have events in different locations, you can never have them come with their husband at the same time. That's what it means here. So that's why it tells you that there is already an ambiguous path, that there is already a relationship that is connecting these two tables. So there is no need of you creating this relationship. The other one is enough. So it means at the end of the day, you can't create that relationship. So you're going to find those errors, like you have a calendar table here, you have connected it to a shipment table. Maybe you have a purchase table here, which also has a date. You're connecting now that purchase table to a shipment table, and you also want to connect the purchase table to a calendar table. It will tell you there is already an ambiguous path because there is a connection between shipments and purchasing. You can't again connect calendar. You rather cross one and connect the purchases to calendar itself. I think I have served justice to data modeling. These are the basics to data modeling. There is no any other rocket science in doing data modeling, but how you do it right matters a lot. I want to open one of the file I have here. It seems I don't have my files here. I want to open one of the files here. You look just we have a look at the data model I'm having on this file. It is a project file. I will hover directly to the data model to make sure that we don't use people's data in our recording. Do we have any questions to do with data modeling? Before we drop, I want us to see on how we can use data modeling right and how it serves purpose on creating visuals. Just a moment, there's something I want to show you. Meanwhile, if you have any question, please pass it through. Okay, meanwhile that one opens, let's go to our report canvas, just managing time. Now, if I say I'm creating a column chart or clustered column chart, I will click on it. I'll click on that. Now we want to remember in our data here, shipment, what values do we have here? We have amount, we have boxes, quantities. So it means that if I want the salesperson and the revenue they have generated, I will put on x-axis, I will put the salesperson. Obviously, I will bring the person because remember the other initial thing went off. Then I'll bring the persons there. Then now, the good thing with data modeling that I can go in another table and pick something else. Like I've picked the salesperson name here. Now I'm going in the table of shipment now because of this summation icon, it shows that these are the numbers we have on our data types. So I will pick amount, put it in the y-axis. So the moment I do that, it will automatically give me my column chart. And I'm doing this with ease, picking data from two different tables because I have data being modeled. Now, let's go and cancel that modeling relationship between the salesperson, this. Let's delete it. So the moment we delete it, we shall go back the other side when we can no longer see the chart. Okay, it's working on it. We have deleted the relationship between people and shipment. So we want to see, because what was connecting them was the salespeople ID. So we want to see whether we can still pick the names when they are not connected. Just give it time, maybe because of this file I'm opening in the background is the one that is slowing down this. Okay, meanwhile that is opening, we can now flash back to what we're opening this side because I wanted to show you the data model that I have on this project. So that is the instance why I opened this file. So I wanted to show you the kind of data modeling I have on this file. Wait a minute. I think I'd not yet created models. Yeah, here it is. Sorry. Now you see here, this is the dilemma you'll sometimes reach into. Not always you'll work with 2, 3, 4 tables. Now, when you check this project, you can imagine the tables I'm working with, and all these are relationships. This related to that, this related to that, this related to that. But at the end of the day, how you arrange your tables gives you ease in editing such a relationship. This is easy. It is not rocket science. If we go here to manage relationships, you'll see the relationships are just simple. But the only thing is we are dealing with many tables, and these tables are all related to each other. This is related to that, to that, to that. And most of them are one to many. Actually, most of them are one too many. Actually, all of them are one too many. So if I filter here like no, let me do here tables. Then we look at tables. Now you see like this table, trip mileage is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it is being connected to the table with vehicles, table with a site, table with vehicles, table with department, and table with calendar. So it has a relationship to 5 tables different. That's why now, at the end of the day, you'll find that the calendar table, the department table, the driver table, the site table, the vehicle table are called dimension tables. Then the tables on this side with many, 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 they are the tables we call fact tables. I think you already understand that. And when you come now to my diagrammatic view, you'll see that all my dimension tables are in the middle. Calendar, site, vehicle, driver, they are all in the middle. But the moment you scatter them, you're going to see these relationships tangling each other, and you'll end up start getting errors because you didn't do the model right. And what you're seeing here is called a star schema. And also this side, the one we created is a star schema, only that this one brings out the picture of a star. But the moment you have the dimension table or the fact table in the middle, then the other one surrounds. Now, like ours, the dimension tables are outside and the fact table is in the middle because it is one. But for the other one, is the fact tables are in the middle because they are few. Sorry, the dimension tables are in the middle because they are few. Then the fact tables are very many. That's why I put them around. Because for them, they just connect to either 5 or 3. But you'll see like this vehicle table, it has relationships. Let me count them for you. These are 4 at the top, there are 5 at the bottom, and there is 1 here, there is 1 here. There are 10 relationships. So when you put this one like aside or outside, you'll find that there are many lines pointing outside than pointing in the middle. Just take that. I know you may not be in position maybe to do such a project or work on such data, but with time, you just have to put that concept into your working. I will close this such that we don't edit anything that doesn't belong to us. Okay, now going back to our data, let's review our report whether it is still there. Now you see this report, it is looking funny. Why? You see it is giving us only one value throughout. And the value it is giving us, it is the total revenue for the whole business. Actually, for the whole data set that is here on each name, and that is automatically wrong. Why? Because we are using a person's name and we are using amount revenue from the different table, and these tables are not related to each other. So for Power BI, it will give you the visual, but you see the visual, it shows that everyone had the same cells, and all the cells they are having, they are the total cells. Let's put here another. Let's put here a card. Let's ship in a scorecard. Where is the scorecard? Scorecard. I think here. So let me chip in a scorecard. Then put here amount in the scorecard, the value. Now you see that value, 44.69 million. It is the total sum of all the cells in the other sheet. But when you hover on one of the cells person, still it shows you 44.6. It means that Power BI will give you the value, but for it, it is giving you total on each of them. Because the two tables you're trying to pick data from, they are not related. So that's why now the relationships are more important on this. So I'll go back, we put that relationship back like this, and yes, we say yes. Then when we go back, the visual will have already changed. So it means that if someone came to your file and changed something, you can tell where they have changed, that these people tampered with my data model or my semantic model. The new word is semantic. This semantic word came in like, it is an update like 1 year ago, but still a lot of notes on the web, you'll find them talking about data modeling. So if we hover back to the Canvas report, you'll see the report will have gone back to normal. Guys, is there any question? When you look at the other flow of what we're supposed to look at, we have nearly talked about everything. We are doing this in modules. That's why you don't expect us to do from end to end and do a dashboard in this session, because the limited time, I would want to focus on exactly what we are working on, which was the data model. So you see, it changes automatically. Now, also semantic modeling, what does it give us? That you can also now create a filter from another table. Let's say if I want to create a filter from the geolocations here. So I can bring in, oh, no. Remember when you're selecting a visual and you go and pick another visual, it will change that exact visual. So I'm undoing, then I select aside, then you pick your filter. This is the slicer. I'll bring it here. Then I want the geolocation. Now, I will not use the geo ID. I will use the geolocation name like this. So, because we have a relationship between the location and shipments, it means that if I click on Canada, it will automatically change this data to only Canada. And even you see the total has changed to 2.66. If I click on New Zealand, it will change this data to New Zealand and it gives me the total. I put this for us to confirm that there is a change being done. Then if you go to Australia, you do the same. Now, you can create these filters when you already have a correct data modeling. Now, there is something I told you that I'm going to explain when we reach here, is this. When you double click on the relationship, there is this cross filter direction. Cross filter direction is exactly what we are doing here. We are doing a cross filtering using a parameter from another table, and we are filtering these two things from also different tables. It means we can also bring another filter to, we can also bring another scorecard here. Let me copy this and paste. We can bring another scorecard here to count products, which means I can pick products here, product ID, and put it here, cancel this. Here it is telling me, it is giving me the first ID, but you come here on these options and you tell it on the summarization, I need you to count the instinct. So it will count for you how many products you have there, 22, right? It means that if I click on Canada, we see others changing, but 22 is not changing because this number in this country, they have sold each of the products here. That's what it means. So sometimes you may find that such measures may not play a big part in your reporting. You rather leave them out. Okay, I think that is fine. So something else I can put here, maybe I can pick shipment numbers, shipment IDs, and put them here. Because this is a text, wherever it is coming from, it will always tell you I'm giving you the first shipment. But for me, I'll come here and say, no, the summarization, I want you to give me count or count distinct. So it will give me 474 shipments or orders that come from Canada. Now, check this. If I click on any bar of any person here as a salesperson like this, it will only filter data for that salesperson. That is the cross filter direction. That you can even use the charts to filter the remaining data on the dashboard. that I'm using this to get Denson's sales here and the count of orders that he has done, 37. If I go to India, that filter will remain there, but it will follow up with Denson because Denson is filtered on this. So it will keep giving me Denson. If I go to UK, still it will shift Denson. You see Denson is shifting as we are shifting countries because of the different data that we are hovering to. So you can go ahead and even copy and paste. Sorry, the reporting is not looking truth and all that because that's not the purpose of this session. If I put here, let's say, what should we put here? What should we want? What do we want to count? Revenue. We have revenue. We have orders. Quantities. So if I bring quantities here, no. Where's quantities? Boxes. I add them there, then I cancel this. So it is giving me 41K quantities. It means when I go to UK for Denson, it will change like that. So if I unclick or unselect Denson, it will give me the whole data for all the people. In UK only, if I want to remove this also, you can clear selection here. It resets back to default. So we are going to look at all that stuff, guys, in our sessions to come. Our sessions to come are going to be very enjoying because we shall have done all the background work. This is the mechanic work you start with. That creating these visuals is very simple. It is, you have seen it is drag and drop. That if I want to, you can even copy this. No, copy. Sorry. Copy paste. I put it here. You can even change this chart into something else. If I want, I can change now this to a line chart like this. Then I go ahead, I make now the amount. I remove now the salesperson on the x-axis. I put their months by removing months in the calendar table. So you go and bring the month number or the month name like this and put it on the y-axis like that. Now, you see, it is confusing because the filtering, the sorting is done by amount. So you can come here and say sort the axis by month name. So month name, it is starting with September. We can ascend this to start with April. Now, you as a data analyst, you see that this is doing alphabetic, but this is not how months are supposed to be arranged. Now we go back to our data. Watch this, what we are going to do. Watch here how it is, because it is doing April, August, because this is A, then it brings D, which is December. It is alphabetic. So when you go back to your data, here, then you go to your calendar. There is a reason why we had this month number, even though we are not using it. This is the reason how you use it. So if you want to put the months in their exact arrangement, you select the month name like this. You see there are more icons that have appeared. You come here on sort by. Then you say we are sorting by month number, such that one stands for January. So we are sorting by month number like this. Such that one stands for January, 12 stands for December. So when you go back to your data, you'll find that your data has sorted itself using the month number, and it is bringing January 1st, not April 1st. So when you go back, but we are going to do all this, don't get scared. We are going to do all this in our module 5 and 6, I think, 5 and 6, yes. It's loading. So when we come back to our module and it's not yet refreshed, it has refreshed. So you see January comes first and December comes next, which means I can add here another field, or I've selected India, it has changed. So if I can also bring another filter for years, so I can use this filter for buttons, then go and pick years and put them in values like this. It will create them as buttons. We shall see how we give these buttons colors and they look fancy. So if I select 2023, these months are looking at only 2023. Then when I select 2024, this is 2024. So you can easily tell in 2024 where we did maximum sales, where we did low sales in 2023, something like that. So all this, you see, we are picking data from calendar, we are filtering data from shipments, we are filtering data from people. These are people because you did data modeling. The moment I cancel these relationships, you see them, they are just four, and they are giving you all this magic here. The moment you cancel them, the data you receive here will just not give sense to anyone, even who doesn't know how to read reports. The moment you cancel those relationships. So that is the purpose of data modeling. Guys, I don't